veteran's voice, stories that deserve to be heard.
I'm Rodriquez, a Lieutenant Colonel in the United States Army, and this is my story. Well, I joined the Army in 1975 and started out enlisted. I spent 6 years enlisted in the 1st Cavalry Division as a door gunner on a Huey. And during that time, I decided that I wanted to do more in life. And so I got offered a position to go to ROTC at LSU and receive my commission as an officer. And so I took the military up on it, put it in, got my degrees, came back in as a 2nd lieutenant in the armor, and stayed for a total of 30 years and retired as a lieutenant colonel. It was a difficult transitioning because when you got ready to transition and get out of the military, you're told that the community's out there waiting for you. There are employers lined up, there are jobs out there because you have all these great, valuable skills and this leadership and knowledge. And once you do actually get out there, you find out that that's really not the case. All the things that I had done in the military, all the accolades that I had received, all the skills that I had really didn't help at all. And so it was a difficult time for me. I kind of managed around from one job to another, working sales, even taught school for a while, doing the Troops to Teachers program. But I missed the military, and I missed my soldiers, and I missed that camaraderie that we had. And so I decided to go back and do something with the military. So I went into government contracting and became a contractor in Afghanistan, training the Afghan army and building it from the ground up. I spent a total of 7 years nonstop in Afghanistan, in the mountains, teaching the Afghan army and building it, going from corps to corps, building their schools, the infantry school, the armor school, the artillery school, and teaching them how to do their missions. We would get a group of 400 to 500 Afghan soldiers from the villages. We put them in a 12-week basic training cycle, and each day I would teach them something, a skill, and then we actually went out and would do it. So in the mountains of Afghanistan, in Tora Bora, we'd be practicing an ambush, and then that evening we would actually go out and do a real live ambush in the mountains. And so if they came back alive, they graduated and passed, and if they didn't, well, they failed the course. So I did that for 7 years. We were really successful. We were making a lot of headway with the Afghan army. And the Taliban decided to put a bounty on my head. And so I had to leave the country because the military did not want to have that happen, and they didn't want to have it on the news or on the media. And so I found myself again unemployed overnight, back in the U.S. and trying to transition and struggling. And I found the Camaraderie Foundation, and I fell in love with the program. I have a son who followed in my footsteps in the military, even though I begged him not to. He was wounded in Iraq with 2 IEDs. He got hit, killed 3 of his friends and a striker. He was medevac to the rear. He got back in another striker, went back to get his buddies. He was hit again, and it completely tore him up bad that time. And so he was brought back to the States and medically retired. And so he was on medication for PTSD and injuries. And the VA had put him on the medications, and because it wasn't working, he was using alcohol to supplement the pain, and found himself barricaded in the house and the SWAT team outside. And so my experience with this PTSD that the soldiers are experiencing, when I found the Camaraderie Foundation, it felt like it gave me an opportunity to do something and give back to the soldiers and get that contact again. And so I saw the application for their executive director's position. They had 200 applicants. I applied. We went through the interview process. They narrowed it down to 5. Out of the 5, we presented before the board what our plan would be for Camaraderie Foundation in the future. And an hour after I left that interview, I was called and offered the position and took it. In February will be my 2nd year as the executive director, and I love the mission and I love the support that we do. One of the programs that we do is the Mentor Leadership Program, and where we provide the soldiers the opportunity to learn skills. We match them with successful business leaders in the community, and they help them transition and get their skills so they can make a better career and not experience what I experienced when I got out. We have a Family Fun Day program where the veterans and their families can get together because once you get out, you lose that connectivity, that camaraderie that you have. And so we bring them all together and we take them to the beach. We'll take them to SeaWorld. We'll take them to Disney, different places so that they all get that relationship back. And I love that part of our program. And then, of course, our biggest one is counseling for PTSD, for the family members, for the spouses, for the children. And so the Camaraderie Foundation is near and dear to my heart. There's nothing else I would rather do, and that's my story.